Welcome to Global Patriot Mission Coaching Live with Sean Barker. I'm Sean Barker, and we have a wonderful show for you tonight. An exciting show. This will be the first GPMC Live where we have a guest. And I'm wearing my blue light filtering glasses. I'll be honest with you guys, I tend to judge myself when I wear my blue light filtering glasses on the live because the screen creates a oh, I just fixed it. Yay. Okay, I'm going to do this from now on. I just made my screen completely dark, and now the glare is not so bad, so you can see my eyes. Okay, cool. Wow. I just instantly fixed the problem I was judging myself for. How wonderful is that? Ascension is real and quickening is real, and you just saw it right in front of your face. So anyway, tonight we have a very special topic and we have a very special guest, one of my besties, Cheryl Perka. And we're here to talk about frequency hygiene, which to me is a hot topic in 2021. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Cheryl on so we can meet her. And then I've actually got a PowerPoint for you guys tonight, which implies that I'm more together than I truthfully am. But anyway, so here's Cheryl. Hey, Cheryl.
Hi.
What's up, buddy?
Not much. Busy day. I just got home and just in time to hop on.
Yeah, yeah. I was getting worried, man. I kept sending you texts. I was like, "Where's Cheryl?" But I was like, I mean, I know I can count on you at the end of the day, and it is the end of the day. So, so you did a massage, or you received a massage?
No, I gave a massage and then they made dinner for me. So that was nice.
Whoa, that's so dope. People are cool. Okay, so you're such a good person for this topic. But let me go ahead and we're going to do a few more updates, and then I'm going to get into the presentation. And then I may at times kind of pause the presentation and then highlight you, and then ask we can both respond to it or whatever. I kind of wanted a more free form thing, but with the presentation as a skeletal structure. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So
My
anyway.
light bad.
No, I don't think so. I mean, you don't have a ring light, but you're not a professional streamer, so
Not even close.
or even not yet, so it's not, it's like you're operating at expected level.
It still says the golden one up there.
I see the golden one.
Golden one-y.
I see the golden oh no is what I see. So all right, so we got a few updates. Now we're streaming on YouTube tonight. This is the first time we're streaming on YouTube, and eventually I'm going to start streaming to my personal Facebook page when I feel like I have it like fully together enough to have an audience, because I have a lot of Facebook friends. But here is the Global Patriot Mission Coaching website. I've made some updates today, so I'm going to show the updates. Because we are on, why are the updates not showing? Well, let's refresh it and see what happens. One of the updates is showing, but the other one isn't. So let's see if they all show after the refresh. Refresh for the refresh. All right, yay, we got it all together now. Okay, so as we can see, I have added a new blog to the page, Health, Freedom, Resources, Medical, and Wellness. And Cheryl's actually talked to me about, she and I are in the talks about the other Health Freedom resource blog, which will be a legal blog. So I plan on getting started on that next week, Cheryl. But if you know anything you want to send me, that would be appreciated.
I did send you a couple things on Telegram already.
Oh, great. Well, thanks for telling me that, because I'm being really bad about checking Telegram here lately. I'm getting so sick of like being digitally scattered because of oppression. You know what I mean?
I know.
It's like getting ridiculous. But anyway, okay, so we have new blogs here. So this is the PowerPoint that we're going to see tonight, the frequency hygiene PowerPoint presentation. This is from I'm going to say STV since we're on YouTube as well. The STV blog now has a new resource. I actually had a request for something shorter than the 35-page manual from someone who needs to go through the procedure but has like a high octane lifestyle or like a very busy lifestyle, so that individual doesn't have time to read 35 pages, single spaced, 12-point font, so I made it did come out to 19 pages, but there's a title page where on this one, and it's in 16-point font, and it's a compilation of articles from my blog and one section from the manual, but it's for people who need to go through that procedure right there that we're not going to say. It sort of like trims the fat. The manual here is more so for geared toward coaches, like more so geared toward creating an infrastructure for that movement whose name we shall not speak tonight.
Uh,
And really the idea is to create an infrastructure so that people will have resources to go to when they wake up and realize that they need resources for that. But this is for the people themselves who will need the resource, and that it's sort of people who, let's say they're already awake to the issue and they already know that they need to make some moves, quickly. So that's why we call it the DV Quick Kits. And so that is there for you all for when you want it. And so that is your update on the blog. As you can see, we are slowly but steadily fleshing it out, are we not? And we will continue to do so. And then the other announcement, of course, you may notice that we started at 11 p.m. tonight instead of 11:30. I have right-sized GPMC Live for the time being to only Thursday nights. We didn't do last week because it was Thanksgiving. I took the evening off. And we're going to do it at 11, from 11 to 12 or thereabouts. If we go over maybe a little under, sometimes that's fine too. But roughly an hour. We're still we are still on Entropy D Live. I will be when we have a chance to do so, when I don't have to talk about this movement right here in particular. Then I will still try to incorporate as many big tech platforms as we can to increase some exposure, get a little bit more traction for the show. But in the meantime, I just wanted everybody to know that I'm going to update the promotional graphic as well. And I announced a couple of weeks ago that I'm going to put it right here, and it's going to bump some stuff down. And but I just didn't have time to do that. But I'm not going to judge myself for that because I got a lot of really good work done today. So eventually we'll get that graphic back done. Thank you, Cheryl. And we'll put it back on, and we'll put it up on the Telegram, and we'll get everything right on Telegram. And then there will be Telegram posts that direct you to all these blog posts, and everything's going to get right back together like it should. Replays are going to be on Rumble, and they're going to be on BitChute, but I'm dragging feet on that. So I live a real life, and in addition to being all an activist, I also have a job. So it just is what it is. It'll get done when it gets done. How about that? And then, so without further ado, I think I'm ready to get into tonight's topic, tonight's presentation. Like I said, I brought the PowerPoint for the kids, man. We got the PowerPoint. All right, Cheryl, do you want me to mute you, sweetie?
I'm good now. She's gone.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay. So, okay. All right, frequency hygiene for the 5G plus wireless tech saturated environment. Cheryl, did I come up with the right title?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are you laughing?
My neighborhood.
Your neighborhood is definitely the 5G plus tech saturated environment.
Yeah.
Do you want to vent real quick?
Well, they installed like overnight last year, toward the last quarter of last year, LED 5G streetlights throughout my neighborhood, so I no longer walk my dogs at night. So it hurts my eyes.
You can't use these?
I maybe, but I was wearing a visor for a while.
That's cool.
I ordered these cheapos here, and they're made in China, so I kind of question whether they're even legit.
I trust my body. Like if I can, like I know these are legit because I can feel it. But like with these things, one thing about these is these do come in lighter tints. You know what I'm saying? So if you're walking outside at night, I would recommend a lighter tint as opposed to this shade. I actually have a lighter tint one over there, but I gotta like fix it because like part of the rubber casing came off a little bit. It has a nice little cushion right here, which I really like because it like cushions against the skin, but it was started to rip off or something, so I gotta like hot glue it back. But I like the lighter one for nighttime stuff. I like the lighter tint one, so you're not like walking around blind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So cool. Okay, so anyway, so these are some of the toxic frequency saturation elements that we're dealing with in this environment in 2021. We have 5G plus antennae. Some places have already rolled out 6G. Not necessarily in a very well pronounced way. Devices everywhere. Your devices are always emitting radiation. Right here in front of me, I have no less than 5 devices because I have StreamYard computer number 1, StreamYard computer number 2. I have an old cell phone that I don't use anymore as a cell phone to monitor DLive. I have a cell phone that I don't use as a cell phone anymore to monitor entropy. And then I have the cell phone that I do use as a cell phone because Cheryl and I were getting our act together right up until the very end. And I didn't, oh no, I am caught up on the text. Okay. So I literally have 5 devices right here. But you walk down the street, especially in a place like where Cheryl lives, which is a little bit more populated than where I live. And think about all the devices that you're coming into contact every day. And every one of them is emitting EMF. So it's kind of like it's literally we're in a saturated environment now. So 4G cell towers are still 4G minus cell towers are still operating. So they rolled out these 5G towers, but notice they didn't take down any of the other towers. You know what I'm saying? Part of the reason for that is that the 5G towers are less interested in your cell service than in other things, truth be told. But so most of us are still getting 4G cell phone service, even if your company lied to you and told you otherwise. LED lights, as Cheryl has said. Now, up until recently, you for a period of time, you couldn't even get halogen lights in commercial settings anymore, but things appear to have maybe in a very quiet way started to shift there because I have halogen lights running in my room right now. So it's everything from your personal lights to, as Cheryl was just talking about, the street lights. The street lights are LED now as well. And Cheryl, I think you know a little bit more about the toxicity of that. So could you maybe enlighten us for a moment there?
Yeah, I was just taking notes.
Oh, that's what you were preparing. Okay, I figured
Yeah.
that might have been it. Okay.
Yeah, I found a really great video last year. This guy was showing the graveyard of all the old streetlights out in California, and he was talking about the weaponization of the nighttime, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, I wipe my nose. Sorry. It's a white light, um, which is he talks about the temperature of it being higher, but it basically interferes with melatonin production.
Okay.
So, which factors into a lot of things, and it fertility for one.
Hmm.
It damages the egg in the women and the ovaries, um, and the testicles in the men. So, also he was talking about how if you have your laptop on your lap,
Right.
that's radiating the heck out of yourself. But
Yes.
it basically lessens your lifespan. And he was talking about how the moonlight is white light, and it's a sepsis.
Yes.
It brings on sepsis
Yes.
and decay and disease. And we only have one night a month where it's the full white light moon, but now we have just permanent full moon night. Like, I mean, literally, the shadows in my neighborhood are so bright. It's more defined than the sunlight shadow in
Mm-hmm.
the
Right.
day in my neighborhood. And yeah, and even car headlights now are moving to LED too.
Yeah.
So
The
anytime you're
light,
out driving around, you're just being bombarded by this white light that's
which is
decreasing your melatonin production, which we all know that your healing time is your sleeping time, and the
mhm.
melatonin is what brings you into your sleep phase. So if you don't have that, then you start getting insomnia and issues like that, and you're not healing basically because you're not
Mm.
sleeping properly. So what else do I have?
The street light part is kind of insane, really, because like LED lights are not as like they actually reduce visibility. Like if you've got like if you're driving and you've got LED lights coming at you, like that actually is a safety issue too, really.
It
Um,
actually hurts my eyes to be
yeah.
out in my neighborhood. And then my neighbor just installed like a big LED floodlight, so I have no darkness in my neighborhood at all. So it's ruined my nighttime. My
Right.
stars are gone. I was angry at first, but now I'm like, I gotta move. I'm out of here.
Sure. And you almost have to like if for those who can't move, another option is to like do dark insulation, make your room kind of light tight, really.
Yeah,
You
that's
know
what
what I'm
I've
saying?
done here. I
Yeah.
wanted to mention the 5G too. The 5G
Hmm.
does not give better reception because the wavelength
No.
is smaller and it doesn't penetrate walls. That's why
Right.
they have to put them on, like in my neighborhood, they've got the little extra 5G thing, every few posts.
Right.
And they're putting them, like, right outside. People My friend has one right outside her bedroom window, and, this is insane, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
people
what they
think
I,
it's
mhm,
good, they're gonna have better it has nothing to do with better reception.
that's right.
It's another bioweapon.
Yes.
And I also found out, I think I told you this, Sean, that I
Mhm.
heard that DARPA, for those that are familiar with DARPA and all of its, nefarious activities, that they have used their weaponized 5G on Northern Virginia. Woohoo!
They're weaponized 5G on Northern
I mean,
Virginia.
I think it's all
Aren't they using it
weaponized.
everywhere? Hmm?
Huh?
Aren't they using it everywhere?
I believe so, but I don't know if there's a specific, like, oomph to what they've done, or maybe they rolled it out
Mhm.
here first, I don't know. But I heard that, and, we hear lots of things, whether or not it's true. But I know that it is a bioweapon, and it has nothing to do with cell phone reception.
Well, some of the people, that we like to follow in Canada, for example, they are saying that 6G is already being used in a weaponized way in certain provinces in Canada. So,
Ugh.
yeah, so it's kind of rough, but yeah, I mean, going back to the LED stuff, like it sort of reminds me of like the balance of the sun and the moon and the anabolic versus the catabolic cycle. So it's kind of like the catabolic cycle is necessary, but it has to be done in a certain state of balance. And it's that's part of what these distortions are. They're sort of like learning from nature, and then they're weaponizing it by like expanding it outward in a way that is toxic. It's like too much of a good thing is a bad thing. And so yeah, that's an interesting take on that. And then what else did you have something else to say about the 5G or the LED?
Um, Not at the moment. I don't
Okay.
think. Check my notes here.
Okay, I'll continue. I'm sure there will be opportunities to talk about everything you've got in your notes because we got a pretty. I'm not going to call this comprehensive, but we definitely hit some major points here. So inaudible sound wave frequencies are part of it as well. Sometimes those can come from your devices. Sometimes those can be actually there's some toxic entrainment even in stuff like TV shows and music and stuff like that. And if you ever notice, I personally can hear if my TV's plugged in or not plugged in. You know what I mean? And that's you have to think those inaudible sound frequencies are going on at all times. And some of these things that are marketed, like they market these things like a product that's supposed to keep roaches away, that's emitting constant state of inaudible sound frequencies.
Yeah.
But as someone who, my roommate has one of those, but we still get occasionally we get a roach or two. So I'm not sure if it's really that effective or not, really for the advertised purpose. But I imagine, like I said, when I walk past that device, I can feel it. I know it's like kind of like a rough thing. Wi-Fi everywhere. Wi-Fi. There's here in my community and lots of communities, they'll even do like public Wi-Fi, and they'll do the public Wi-Fi across this certain area. The electric grid. We know that people who live next to parts of the electric grid are more likely to develop cancer. So the electric grid is putting out radiation. And then we've got smart meters and smart home tech, which literally pump EMF through your house overnight. And that's why, that's part of why some of these behavioral adaptations that we're about to talk about are important. Do you want to add anything, Cheryl, before we move on?
Not right now.
Oakley dokley.
That's a
Okay.
surprise.
What's that?
I said that's surprising, isn't it? Usually I'm like babbling.
You do you, Cheryl. You do you. But so it contributes to poor sleep quality. Yeah, Cheryl's talking about the melatonin. You know, the other thing that when you're messing with your melatonin levels is that it's going to mess with your sleep levels. And some of these devices, if you're keeping these devices in your room and they're plugged in, they're probably messing with your delta wave sleep. Your delta wave sleep is the deepest layer of sleep that is absolutely necessary to restore every part of your functioning, especially mental functioning. And so if you've got devices in your room that are messing with your delta wave sleep, especially, that's where those sound waves become especially pertinent. Then you're not getting the level of sleep you need to maintain optimal health. It's that simple. Cancer is part of it. DNA degeneration is part of it. It contributes to blood oxygen level deficiencies. It contributes to cell damage. It contributes to poor concentration. It contributes to tinnitus, anxiety and mental illness, mental and physical fatigue, migraines and headaches. Did I miss anything, Cheryl?
I'm sure you did.
I'm sure I did. I'm sure I did too, but that's a pretty
what? We're basically microwaving ourselves. So we're being microwaved. So
exactly.
Every aspect of your biology, your physicality is being negatively affected.
Yes. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that too. But yeah, these are the ones I felt like these might be the ones that people would be able to access, you know, like these are the ones that people can understand pretty easily. So, but yeah, you're right. It's not an exhaustive list by any means. These are just maybe the top things that we tend to observe, right? So, something to that effect. So, okay, what can we do about it? I'm going to start with behavioral tips. Okay, the different behaviors that you can change in your routine that will help you out in this regard. So, unplug all smart devices before going to bed. So that it would include your laptops, your cell phones, your tablets, your TVs. Anything that has that kind of tech in it, you need to unplug it. You know, and a lot of these other, you know, you don't want to unplug your fridge, obviously, but some appliances are starting to have these types of capacities in them as well. Charge, so get old stuff if you can. Why not? If it still works. Charge cell phones and other devices in a separate room. Cell phones are emitting way more EMF radiation when they are plugged in than when they're not plugged in. So me personally, anytime I'm charging a cell phone, I'm at least 10 feet away from it at all times. And I prefer to put it in a whole different room when I'm charging it. Request smart meter removal or non-installation. So if your power company wants to install a smart meter on your home, tell them no, I'm keeping this. They are not legally allowed to install this without your permission because it spies on you and it collects data and it sends it back to the power company, and that violates your Fourth Amendment and Fifth Amendment rights. So you can assert your rights. If they give you troubles, you can sue them. You know, whatever you need to do to stand up to this. But if you got a smart meter, tell them to take it off. If you don't have a smart meter, tell them no way, Jose, it's never coming on my crib. And you know, the reason, I mean, if you don't mind being spied on, I personally prefer not to be spied on too. But if you're someone who doesn't mind being spied on, and there seem to be a lot of such people these days, then at least be aware that the extra EMF that's being pumped through these smart meters at night is contributing to these EMF problems that can cause health problems, as we've just discussed. So, would you like to add anything for the next slide, Cheryl?
No.
Okay.
Well, unplug and turn off.
Yes. Unplug
any device that you can turn off, turn it off.
Oh yeah, I meant to put that in the presentation. Thank you for that. Yeah, I agree with that. I unplug and I turn off. That's right, because with laptops and stuff, you need to turn them off because they have a charge, and phones and stuff. Absolutely. Now, what about for people who use cell phones as an alarm clock? Do you have a stellar idea for such people?
Get a different clock. I have your old basic. I have a glow in the dark wall clock. You know, your basic.
Does it have an alarm?
No, I don't. I set a mental alarm, but I guess I would just leave it on the opposite side of the room, at the very least.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I always hated those alarm clocks that glowed too hard at night. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. I would hope I would
I
wonder if
mean,
people would be able to find some sort of vintage alarm clock that
yeah,
doesn't have too bright of a light like that.
just
Like that.
the digital clocks next to your bed are not good. I've never had one next to my bed, you know,
Mhm.
or in 20, 30 years because I read about it way back when.
Yeah.
Uh,
We may have to bring back some of those vintage clocks,
yeah,
those twist alarm clocks. And then my parents had a really cool one from the 80s where it was like a almost like the numbers would like flip, like the numbers were like
yeah,
on like little teeny cards and they would flip,
I remember those.
yeah,
Yeah,
and those had a very pleasant halogen, like very low orange light, to where if you needed to know what time it is, if you woke up in the night, you could see it, but it wouldn't bother you or prevent you from sleeping.
right. Or some of them have a button you can push and the light turns on just for a second and then it goes off.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we should bring back the alarm clock. But yeah, I'm kind of like you. I tend to wake up when I'm supposed to.
yeah.
So okay. So socially distance from your devices when not in use. Let's go ahead and put that
Proper
term.
social distancing.
Yeah, let's put that term to better use than what it's being used for. Let's social distance from our devices. Utilize addiction counseling services if you spend too much time on your devices and cannot control yourself. I see this all the time. I work with, as I get older, I find that I'm working with people that are younger than me in my mental health job. And, I see people all the time who like, they'll be up in their social media 24/7. And then even if they have to plug it in and so you're charging the phone and you're putting it right here next to your face, what on earth are you doing? And not to mention to your eyes, like it's messing with your eyes. Remember when your parents and your grandparents told you don't get too close to the TV? Now what's the functional difference between a TV and your cell phone in terms of
Yeah,
like your eye health?
the cell phone's worse, and your brain, you're microwaving your brain.
Bam. Ain't it though? Ain't it? And then we wonder like all the why we have so many more brain tumors and stuff like that. You know. And that I'll add something to that. Cheryl knows because we're buddies. Like I prefer to do phone calls in the car, and the reason for that is that I don't have to hold anything up to my head. You know, and
I always use speakerphone. I don't care who overhears my conversation.
right.
I always use speakerphone.
Yes, I typically do too. And I do the LED earbuds, but I don't do the iPhone ones. I've heard that they're the worst when it comes to the radiation. But I've actually taken to reducing that. And I actually bought a nice corded, here, I'll take this off the stream real quick. I bought a nice corded headphone set for
Yeah.
my editing and for other purposes related to that. So I'm sort of like I'm in transition as well. I'm practicing what I'm preaching, but I'm phasing it in. Let's put it that way. So, okay. So, but yeah, people do need, I mean, it's a real thing. Social media addiction is real and it needs to be treated as a real addiction because it's harmful. It is deeply harmful. And my friend Annie, she likes to talk about that in terms of self-esteem in young girls, and that aspect of how that stuff's toxic. But it's also just sheerly toxic, like actually literally toxic because of the devices, and what you're doing to yourself when you're always in a device. So do not sleep with a cell phone or other device near your head. Yeah, you already mentioned that, Cheryl. Behavioral tips. Okay. Practice dopamine detoxification on a regular basis. So it's important to take some time away from the devices, ideally away from other stimulants like nicotine or caffeine or refined sugar or whatever. Dopamine detox is a really good practice to do as often as you could. I was able to do it for a couple months every Sunday. I've gotten a little bit out of it, but I still am someone who regularly takes time to go into nature. Unfortunately, the unaffected areas of nature are becoming fewer and farther between. But you can still go to places that are relatively less saturated, and like those woodsy type places are the places where you want to go. Um, let's see. So, and also choose corded over cordless for headphones, Ethernet cables, etc., wherever feasible. So, like in my next house, I'm planning to ideally just have a room with Ethernet and like a wired modem, not a Wi-Fi modem. I think that it's time for that. I mean, it's time to like just it's just time to make certain practical um, accommodations. And people don't need to be plugged in at all times. Like you don't need every room in your house to be internet accessible. Like it's good to compartmentalize that because it's there for certain purposes. Use it for the certain purposes, and then take a break from it and go back to being an organic human when you're not having to use it. That's how I see it. What are your thoughts, Cheryl?
Yeah, I agree. I fought the Wi-Fi for up until I moved here to Virginia 11 years ago. I refused to have it in my house, and then I caved when I moved out here because as a child, I could feel that, like the television. If somebody had it on the house, I would feel it in my neck. I
Oh
could
wow.
feel the vibration of my neck.
Yeah.
So I'm highly sensitive to frequency,
Yeah.
as many of us are, but
Hmm.
some I think are just more in tune
Yeah.
with
And
their
that's a
own.
what.
I was just gonna say with their own bodies, so they're more aware of what they're experiencing.
Yeah, and there's a term that's catching currency in the psychology world called highly sensitive person, and you and I would both fit that description. It's like it's part of ascension, really. It's part of being more open and being more inside of light body, that kind of thing, and bringing more of that energy here. It just opens you up more to where you know what's you feel your environment more. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
And it's kind of like those of you who are not us, we're the canaries in the coal mine for you. We can feel this stuff, and because we can feel this stuff and we can pay attention to our own bodies and see what's happening, what we're doing to ourselves with these things. We're here to tell you, that's the purpose of putting together a presentation like this and having these two people doing it. It's that we're sharing our awareness with you to help you, so like, take that under advisement. But sound good, Cheryl?
yes.
Okay, so here's some implements. Did you bring your Faraday stuff?
You know what? My Faraday thing is bogus. I had it in there and I received a phone call. I'm like, it doesn't even work. I was so
Yours didn't.
disappointed.
Yours didn't work
It was
because it
made
was
in
it
China.
was working before. You said
I thought it did, but maybe it failed over time. I don't know. But
so.
yeah,
It
I
got.
have it here.
Oh, okay. Well, that sucks.
I
So
know.
should I just not recommend this stuff then? Is this slide useless?
Hold on. It's my little phone pouch here.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, kind of looks
And
a little bit like this one, the Go Dark.
yeah. So yeah, but I had it in there the other day and it rang. I was like, what? Not pleased.
Well, does it help keep the frequencies from the devices in?
I don't know. I wear it in my because I wear a fanny pack when I'm walking my dogs and stuff, and I have my cell phone in there, so I have it between my body and the phone.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's doing anything, I don't know at this point, but
Well, we'll table the Faraday case. I'll say Tony Ponte seems to esteem that they work, but that you can make stuff cheaper. So that actually is what the next slide is about. Actually, he was saying that this sort of like reflective insulation is just as good as Faraday, and he describes it as reducing but not eliminating. It's a reducing concept but not an eliminating concept
right.
for both, like the Faraday and this stuff. And these Faraday products are super expensive. So I would, if you're on a budget, I would say go ahead and do a DIY, especially since Cheryl says that they seem to degenerate over time. This thing right here, I actually have. Let me take it off the screen. I actually bought that. This whole big roll that I have of it was, and it's the exact same product that's in the slide. Um, it was $20, And I got enough in here to do some stuff with. I was gonna make a little bit some blocks around my room, like toward where I've got a 5G tower that's like, if I had a BB gun, I could shoot it from my front porch. It's like that close. And it's sort of like, I can put it in that direction, to like sort of like reduce the amount of radiation that's coming in. But it's a reduction concept, not an elimination concept. That's an important point to make. So yeah, so if you don't want to do that, I mean, me personally, like I envision, those big puffy jackets that hip hop people like to wear sometimes, like they would be a really good fit for adding some of this type of insulation in. Like there are ways to make it stylish too, a tinfoil hat's not going to do much for you except for make you look crazy, So, but like there are things that we can do in our clothing materials to reduce 5G radiation. And some people in some circles are starting to have that conversation and even develop those products. I was actually able to see some of those products. Like if we go to the previous slide here, we see that this lady here is wearing a protective, it's like kind of a headscarf. It almost looks like, it almost resembles a hijab. But it's there for EMF protection, so that's those products are already starting to be made, and there's no reason not to DIY it. Go out there and start a business, make some money selling this stuff if you want to, why not, if you're into stuff like that. So you see, I decided to be a positive role model tonight and wear my my blue light filtering glasses, and these make a world of difference for me, because I before I got mine. Oh, you got yours too, great.
I've got my pinhole glasses underneath.
Yes.
And then because we decided, right, that these focus the light, the pinhole glasses.
Yes.
And so I was just directing the blue light more directly into my eyes, and I had an epiphany that day. I was like, crap. So
yes,
I know
that's right.
I look pretty goofy, but you know what? I don't care.
Yeah, who cares? Yeah, it's not about how you look, it's about how you
If I don't
see.
have to read, I don't need these, really.
Right.
Let's pull those out. See how it looks by itself.
I like yours. Yours are orange. I like the orange.
I have 2 pair somewhere. I have another pair.
Yeah, I've seen your other pair too. I think this may be the first time I've seen this pair.
Yeah, these are my heavier. The other ones are lighter looking.
Are those the exact same product as my orange ones in the picture?
I don't know, maybe.
They look very similar. But yeah, blue light filtering is absolutely essential these days. Cheryl already told you about what LED lights are doing to you, but there's blue light in your screens as well. And you want to filter that out. Like I said, I can feel it as someone who has to do a lot of paperwork for what I do. I have to look at screens a lot, and I can tell the difference. I can literally add like 2 hours to my workday if I wear these.
I agree. My eyes don't hurt when I wear them.
Yes.
They almost feel like they're gonna pop at the end of the day if I don't wear them.
Yeah.
My eyes get so tired.
I know.
Almost painful.
Yes. Oh gosh. Yes. So anyway, so they've got the glasses version, but they also have these screen covers. It depends. I think they do make screen covers that work better than other screen covers. So like just go cheap at first and experiment with what works and what tones work for you the best. And I would say that trust your body. If you can tell the difference, like what Cheryl and I have described, then you're doing better with that.
I didn't know they had the screen ones. That's awesome.
Yeah, I found out about that. I've seen some of my colleagues that have those. That's how I found out about the screen ones. But yeah, I need to get some of those too. Really, I've been thinking about that. It'd be nice. I wonder if they make one for a TV. Like that would be really cool. If they made one for a TV, that would be helpful to me. So okay, so I have some soundproofing as well that can help with those low audible sounds. But I personally am going to soundproof my space for other reasons, because I make a lot of content and I don't want to disturb. But my roommate and I both work from home a lot, so it's like I'd like to not disturb him when I'm doing my stuff, So soundproofing to try to filter out some of those low inaudible frequencies, that kind of thing. And this stuff's actually pretty cheap as well. These panels down here, depending on how much you order, you can save some money there. I saw some that were as low as I think $13, but then if you got twice as much, it was like $21 or something. So these little panels, they come in little squares, and then you just assemble them into whatever wall space you need to assemble them onto. And then this version right here reminds me more of like carpet padding. The padding, the cushion padding that they put under carpet. My dad used to lay carpet. That's how I know what that stuff looks like. So, okay, cool. Okay, advanced. So this thing right here, this canopy, this is like a silver canopy, and it blocks EMF. This thing is like $650, man. That's some advanced stuff. But it's a similar concept to what I plan to do with my reflective insulation here. So I don't feel to spend $650 for a bougie EMF canopy. But hey, if that's you, then go for it, man. If you got more money than time to rig up your own thing, then I'm not here to judge. So, but yeah, they're getting advanced with this stuff, man. They're getting advanced with it. And we're not going to show the video today, but I wanted to bring in Tony Pontolaresco's Weapon of Mass Relaxation. He's got this YouTube video. As I've said before, this is an active link when the presentation, I guess I could press shift or control or something and make it an active link now as well. But, and this is just a screenshot. This isn't like an embedded video or anything. But this is him explaining how he makes it. He uses some mesh sheets, and he uses magnets, and he amplifies the magnets with the power source. And basically you can put it kind of under your mattress cover or something like that, and it creates a field to block frequencies. And in my personal opinion, especially if you're someone who made the certain medical decision, I think that this weapon of mass relaxation is a necessity, not a luxury, because those people's sleep patterns are being effed with righteously. But anyway, but anyone, people who have tinnitus, that kind of thing, like people who are sensitive to frequency and it affects their sleep, this is one way to do it. It kind of builds an ion field or like a magnetic field around yourself to block out other stuff. I'll leave it to you guys to do your own research there. But he's an inventor. He's kind of like a mad scientist, really. Like that's how I see him, and I like him a lot. I'm really identified with him. I've never met him in person, but I like his materials, and I'm inspired by a lot of his work. So I would say check out that YouTube video. It's a DIY project, but if you want to find the video, go back to the blog and go back to the blog that I showed you earlier, the HealthFreedom blog, and download the PowerPoint, and you can click the link off of there and do continue your research if you're interested in this topic. And just to start here, folks, this was not meant to be comprehensive. This was not meant to be comprehensive. This was meant to sort of be an overview and stimulate people to be thinking in the direction of self-protection. So I would urge you all to continue with your own research. And remember, self-protection is a lifestyle. Like it's at the point now where there's so many weapons coming at us at all times that people have to make it a lifestyle. If you want to be in the vibration that Cheryl and I prefer to maintain. So, and we live that lifestyle, do we not? Yes, no, maybe so. Can you hear me, Cheryl?
Oh, wait, what? Sorry.
Self-protection is a lifestyle.
Oh, God, yes, absolutely.
And we live that lifestyle.
Yes.
So that does it for our presentation. What did I miss? Did I miss anything? Should we add anything else to this topic?
Nothing that I can think of. Just also inside your car.
Oh, yeah.
Your car is basically a Faraday cage, and you're in there with all the electronics. I used to have a real hard time staying awake while driving, and I think it's because I'm so sensitive to those energies. And I purchased from an Egyptian physicist, just a little metal bar that has symbols on it. One of the various frequency modifiers, but I put that in my car, and it's been very, very helpful. So just keep in mind that when you're in your car, you're being radiated heavily, and you've got your cell phone in there, so it's all just bouncing around in there.
Can you tell us more about the frequency modifier that you're using?
Yeah, if I could, I'll try and find the website and I'll pass it on to you, and then you can add it to the video.
Okay.
Um, Gosh, what was the guy's name? Um, but I bought the full home kit. So, like, you put a little thing on your, um, like, the east and west side of your house, and then you put it on all these little L-shaped things on all your devices. I have one right here on my laptop. Um, I've got I've got one on my phone.
Mhm.
Where's my phone? It's just
Oh, okay, cool.
this little
Little,
wait, where's my oh, here.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
this
that's
little
cool.
thing there.
That little
So,
square thing.
yeah, I got there's a bunch of different versions of them, but I really liked this guy's website, and his, expertise looked to be pretty substantial. So, I
Wonderful.
went
Well,
that with
so
his whole kit.
in your opinion, can you tell a difference?
Oh, yeah, and you can even put it on your water pipe, um, and, like, on your smart meter. I have one outside, where the power comes into the house, so
Cool.
he gives you full instructions on where to place everything, and there's different ones for different, um, items, I guess.
Do you remember
So,
about how much it costs?
it wasn't too much, maybe a couple $100 or less for the
Okay,
whole
and that
home.
was for the whole home kit?
Yeah,
Nice. Okay,
uh,
cool. Yeah, please do send that to me. I might
yeah,
get it for myself too.
let me leave myself a note.
Okay. And well, so I wanted to add that neither Cheryl nor I are anti-tech people or anti-frequency people. Tech can be reformed for good, and we both believe that, and we both have seen evidence of that. Frequencies can be used for good as well, and we both are frequency practitioners. Yes, Cheryl?
I had something to add that I just figured out.
Okay.
So, I don't know if we wanna go in the direction of what's happening with, um, you
The
know
assembly,
Huh?
the
No,
assembly.
the vaccinated, having an effect, an EMF
Oh,
effect.
TV, contagious contact,
Yeah, that it's
whatever
actually
we're not allowed to say. Okay. Hmm?
a frequency issue. So when
It
I
is
go out,
definitely a frequency.
I was having trouble when I was going out, and I have, with the Genius, I was taking a picture of my aura before and after, and I could see, a change when I came out of a store.
Which
So
is
what
the
I
Genius
realized I could
Insight.
do
Let's explain that. The Genius Insight is a
is a
is a
biofeedback.
frequency healing biofeedback system. Yes, that we
Yeah.
both use and both practice with.
Yeah. So here's what I'm doing now when I go out to the store. I'm putting on my phone, turning it into a healing device by playing 528 hertz
Yes,
for miracles. And then I run my Genius for myself in the car. So I've got like this double positive frequency thing assisting my field to ward off what's coming at me, be it from people
fantastic.
or, you know, all the other you
Yeah,
think of all the people, everybody has a cell phone, and
yeah.
now we've got people that are actually emitting
A
nefarious
frequency
frequencies.
from the nanites inside of them.
Yeah,
So
so that seemed to help me the other day. I just started doing it this week because every time I go out, I end up with a sinus infection, which is why I sound funny right now because 'cause I'm still recovering
yes,
from the last time. It'll hit
yeah,
you where you're weakest, and that's
yes.
where I'm weakest.
So another thing to add to that element of it, the protecting yourself from or cyborg frequency weapons. They would be not to dehumanize anyone because I'm convinced that the consciousness is still there, even if it goes deeper in the soul structure than the surface. I don't subscribe to Karen Ann Lucic McDonald's theory that they're gone.
Yeah,
Because I understand the soul structure and how big it is, and I can tell that they're not gone.
right,
I can also read into feel into and read into and reach into people's soul structures. So I know I've yet to encounter someone who's totally gone,
right, I
but
agree.
I have encountered people who are not able to project a healthy aura because their life force energy is being drained, and they have mixed frequencies and an additional consciousness. like a a self-aware consciousness that is able to look back at you. And another thing to protect yourself from that element of it is a personal ionizer device
Yeah.
that you wear at the hip and that it projects out. And that's my next thing to acquire is a personal
Yeah,
ionizer.
that's me too. I just wrote it down because I was going to order one uh, today, but I ran out of day.
Yes, and so for those of you who would like to order one, again, we have to be careful about the euphemisms that we use here. But let's go back to the Global Patriot Mission Coaching homepage, extropicesoterica.com/GPMC. Okay, and we look to the movement whose name we shall not say. And then we go down to the first resource there, my STV coaching manual right here. In part 4, it has a list of things. It has a lot of different things in it, actually, including the weapon of mass relaxation from the PowerPoint. But they actually have a link to the recommended personal ionizer devices recommended by Tony himself. So that's already, we already have a resource that corresponds to what we're talking about now. I didn't include it in the PowerPoint because I was going to try to not emphasize this topic that we're on now, or we have to use our language carefully when we talk about this topic. But it's already in there as a resource if you are listening to this part of this topic now, and you would like to look into getting a personal ionizer device for yourself. I think absolutely everyone needs to get one. Every person who didn't make the certain medical decision needs to get one, especially.
Yep.
So, but yeah, but your method is great too. I mean, it's important to have that self-protection. And to me, it's like there's the frequency part of it, and then there's also the nanite jumping part of it. So it's kind of like,
Right.
whatever you want
Yeah,
to say.
layer, just like they've layered us with the nefarious frequencies, we can layer the positive or the
Yes.
protective, I should say.
So we're not quite at an hour yet, so I think we maybe have time for a little pivot if you want. Do we want to talk about sovereignty?
Oh, sure.
What's happening in the sovereignty movement?
They suggest that we don't use the word sovereignty. The state is
Interesting.
sovereign. The state is sovereign, but the people are, we call state nationals. It's basically um, pulling yourself out of the corporate United States and returning to the land and the soil, which is
Yeah.
where we were born, and we were hijacked at birth
Mhm.
and cast out to sea.
Yes.
But I'm excited about it. I'm really enjoying the learning process. It's a complete different language. They've hijacked our language
Yeah.
long ago. They've twisted it and manipulated it and come up with a complete different legalese as opposed to lawful language. So there's, um, but I'm having fun with it. It's a great group of people here in Virginia, and we're basically reestablishing the government. It's not even government. We're reestablishing, I guess you would call it a government that has been missing for 160 years.
Mhm.
And the land and soil jurisdiction, that's what I should call it, the jurisdiction,
Yes.
um, is what wrote the constitutions for, there are 3 constitutions, I didn't know that, for, what ultimately is the federal government. So it's supposed to be land and soil jurisdiction, giving the power to the federal government, not the federal government, you know, manipulating us like little puppets. So again, this inverted reality that we're in, it's about flipping it back
Yeah.
every way conceivable. It's literally an inverted reality that we're living in.
Yes. Well,
Um,
and while we're in this state of devolution, where we already have a self-organized collective that is helping to expose the system that we're under for the corruption and the illegitimacy of it. That's the thing about it. The system that is obviously dying in front of our faces is manifestly illegitimate. We're not allowed to use a certain sequence of words that starts with E and rhymes with selection and starts with F right after it. That's another YouTube thing. But we all know that what happened in 2020 shows us some of us been done new, okay? But for those of you who didn't know, who weren't the been done new types, now other people are awake to the fact, a critical mass of people are awake to the fact that this system is illegitimate. And so we're essentially, the land and soil stuff is a little bit obscure and maybe too deep for the audience who's not already initiated to that. But the essential, to make it a little more accessible, essentially this system over here has shown it to be illegitimate. We are now building the legitimate system while the illegitimate system self-destructs.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, yep. All right, cool. Any closing thoughts?
I feel like we're close to some really great things happening. I went through a rough couple weeks. It was a mess, actually. It's hard to watch what's happening. It's hard to be awake.
Yes.
Oh, look what I just did. Woo, let's turn that around. It's hard to be awake during this time.
Yes.
I've cried more in the past couple of years because I've been seeking the truth, and when I find it, it's so disheartening and painful to witness. Yes. So I'm feeling it lifting, and I feel like pretty soon we're going to start seeing the beauty come back.
Yes.
And so just hang tight, everybody. Hang tight.
Yeah.
We're it's already done. It's just needs to finish playing out.
Yeah, I think we're at the tip. Like, I think we were pushing, as far as counterinsurgency, the people had to step up to start pushing the boulder to the tip. And now we're at the tip, and we're not falling yet. We're not in free fall yet, but we're at the very, very tip. Like, we're no longer pushing up. The next push is going to be, And I agree. I've had some personal breakthrough today for the STV movement, the movement whose name we're not allowed to say. I've had a personal breakthrough on that front today that was very meaningful to me, and lets me know that whatever happens, whether we're successful or not, at least that everyone is able to see me and what I've been trying to wake people up to the whole time, and that I'm now able to do this work that I've been wanting to do this whole time for the people that I want to do it for the most. And it's a fantastic place for me to be in. I've had a wonderful day. But yes, it has been a dark year. It's been a very dark year.
Yeah.
But here it is, right here at the end of the year, and things are starting to come back around. And to me, it's exciting, and it's exciting to see people stand up for themselves, stand up to authority and assert their will.
I don't watch media, but I'm hearing there's a lot of self-disclosure coming out now.
It definitely, and it's been all year, but it's getting stronger, and so many people are having to resign or losing their shows. Chris Cuomo's off the air right now. Joy Reid is going to be off the air soon, and these things are becoming more and more obvious as we go forward. Think of all the Democrats that have had to resign. Think of there's 19 Democrats that are switching parties, citing
really?
Citing Pelosi's leadership. They're not.
The thing about this whole political thing is the corporate U.S. is bankrupt and gone. So we don't have a president. Biden is the president of nothing.
Yeah, well, Biden is dead. The ghost of Joe Biden is president of nothing.
So whatever happens, we're not moving back to that system. That whole system needs to crumble and go away. So it'll be interesting to see what comes next.
Yes. Yeah. So it all, in that regard, it is a show. It's a show that has real consequences. People are out here dying. All right. But in that sense, you're right, because this is a corporation that was pretending to be a government that is now bankrupted. And these are not Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. It's they switched the actor who plays Joe Biden quite a lot. But this is an act. This is that James.
Wake-up call.
Yeah, and Stacey Dash, and then that's I'm just guessing with the Stacey Dash, but it would be fierce if it were. I would love it to be Stacey Dash, and but it's like these are actors, and prosthetics, face masks, and we're seeing that all over the place. So it's literally just a puppet show, you know. It's just a puppet show,
Yeah.
and it was always a puppet show, but there used to be actual living puppets, and now it's like people playing puppets, So, but yeah, so yeah, it's rapidly deteriorating, and yeah, I agree. I think that we are getting really close to a
Yeah.
tipping point. I think we're getting really close to the stuff starting to bust loose.
Yeah. I'm at my wit's end with the masking of the kids and stuff. I
Yeah.
it
Well,
needs
be a
to
dick
stop.
about it, man. I've started to just be a dick about stuff,
I
because
I
it's
was too. I had somebody tell me this morning when I was walking my dogs, and I walked by the elementary school, and all the kids were outside masked up, and one of the dads was walking back to his car in his mask, and I said, "It's been 2 years, take your mask off." And he just totally attacked me. He's like, "You should die." And I'm like, "I'm not afraid to die." Or he said something about, "Everybody dies." I'm like, "Then take your mask off." What are you doing? Eh, the mindset of these people, they're so captured. Their minds are
can
so
you
captured.
yeah, can you imagine being someone who made a certain medical decision and then wearing a mask?
I
Can
know.
you how much of a sheep do you have to be? I mean,
It's
and how I'm
so
gonna use a politically incorrect word. How retarded are you? I dare you to deplatform me, YouTube. I'll join that lawsuit real quick. but but like how retarded do you have to be?
Yeah.
I mean, literally, like I look at these people and I'm just like, what are we doing?
I mean,
Like
I didn't know that they are basically implementing MK Ultra mind control protocol on the global population.
Mhm,
I would be less compassionate. But I've been compassionate now for what, 20 months?
mhm,
And
mhm.
now I'm just done. I'm like, "Take
Well,
your fucking mask off."
yeah,
Oops.
there's such a thing as Buddhist compassion. Buddhist compassion does not refrain from chastisement when that is what's required. You know,
Right,
like there's a form of compassion that says, no, you need a little bit of fire in front of your face right now because you are
right,
doing things that are causing harm to others, and
right.
that must stop, and that must stop now.
Especially the children.
Yeah,
That's
it's unconscionable.
it
And
is.
when you think about the graphene in the masks, like you're making people sick.
And the
You know,
tests,
yeah, yes, absolutely,
all the
absolutely.
crap on the end of those swabs, right at the
Yeah,
blood-brain barrier. It's like,
that's
people,
right.
really?
They stick it all the way in, and people don't ever stop to think, why is this test different than every other test?
Why
And
are we
how did they
testing at
come up?
all?
And how
Why
did
are
they
we
come up with a test so quickly?
Yeah, yeah. How could they have all of the dots on the floor and screens up overnight?
Yeah,
I mean, from the very beginning, I'm like, "This is" and the propaganda on the radio, I had to shut it off.
it is so crazy. And down here, you've been jealous of me most of this time because I live in an area where people don't fall for it as much. But I'm gonna tell you what, something about this Omicron, which even the doctors in South Africa are saying is it's already been a thing for like the past year and a half. Omicron variant has already existed this whole time, and was not a big deal. It was actually a weaker variant uh,
Okay,
than the
here's my
original.
question. If the original was a patented bioweapon, how
Yeah,
can you have a variant? The variant is actually what we know it is. The
right.
variants are something else
The
altogether.
certain
And
medical decisions.
Omicron,
Yeah.
Omicron, switch the letters around, moronic is what it spells.
If you take Delta and Omicron and do an anagram, it becomes media control.
Oh, does it really? Too
Isn't that
funny.
wild?
Ah,
Isn't that wild? So isn't it funny that they chose those two?
yeah,
So
right? It's
they
part
do
of the
like to do that.
play,
Yeah, it's part of their cult. It's
but
part of their
people
insanity.
still talking about these variants. How can you have a variant from something that well, I guess it is still a manufactured, computer-generated structure, so I guess maybe it can morph, I don't know.
Or yeah, or they maybe have different versions of it.
But,
That's certainly
the PCR test is bogus anyway, so what are they testing? How are they getting this variant tested? With a
There is
false test?
look, there is no Delta variant test. There is no Omicron variant test.
Right. So
So,
how do they even know it's there?
and yet people, but I had to go to Walmart today as part of the course of my job. Yesterday rather, I meant, and almost everyone was back in it. And I was like, how did this revert so quickly just because this douchebag got on television? You know
I
what I mean?
know.
Like, how did this revert so quickly? Because like people, down here, people were just waiting to demask. And it's like and we had point, I've had points recently. I even went to a blue city, a totally blue city, and to a club where I caught CCB, it was only like 2% of people were masking, you know but now this has happened, and there's this thing that's not real, another version of this not real thing. And another, it's really another propaganda thing, and all of a sudden it's like back on. It's like I don't get it, but to me personally, I can't even feel self-conscious about being someone who's not going to mask anymore.
Oh,
I
me
don't.
either.
I
I
approach everyone.
dare you to come up and say something to me at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
You go
I
right ahead and say something to me.
yeah, I have
I
equal
haven't
right.
worn one since last
I don't just have equal right to
October.
maskers to these facilities. I have more right to these facilities than maskers have because I'm not an idiot,
Right.
but that's how I see it, and I project that, and I dare anyone to tell me otherwise. But I'm
Yeah.
also a very kind person, especially with working people. I've always made a point to, when I go to someone's place of work, to add something, not subtract. I want to enliven people's moods. So a lot of people appreciate those of us, those whose employers require them to mask. They appreciate those of us who aren't, if they don't want to be masking. So it's sort of like I don't even feel that I'm getting much stigma or something. I did today. I went to a nature store, and this woman made a point to try to like act like, oh, I'm going to overperform sanitizing my hands because I believe in Omicron. And I just didn't even look at her. I was like, I don't care.
I mean, there's still
who are you
people
to
that
me?
like give you a wide berth.
I didn't even look at her. I didn't even acknowledge her. I was like, okay, you do, I just continued my conversation, checked, got my stuff out and just left. And just, she didn't exist to me. So,
Right.
you know, but yeah, so, okay. Yeah. So we're getting close to the line. So let's go ahead and call it a night.
All right.
But that was your GPMC episode 3, first one with the guests. Thank you for that. I
Thank
appreciate
you for
you.
having me. A pleasure.
Yeah.
Always
We
good
enjoyed the
to
topic. Health Freedom is now live. We're going to go Health Freedom. We got all the movements. All the movements are going to have a blog before it's over. Okay. We're going to keep rolling with it. And you all, this whole project is about getting people activated. So if you're watching this, please, I hope you're doing something productive, okay? Because we got to push this boulder down the edge. We got to create the tipping point, and we got to get to that beautiful place that Cheryl already sees coming. So,
Yes.
but any more thoughts, Cheryl?
I don't think so.
Closing words?
Just keep holding the vision of the beauty, not the ugly. And
Absolutely.
like I said the other day, we have to balance visioning with action. We're here in this realm, and it's a big fat mess, but you've got to hold the vision of what you see in the future and the beauty that's coming while you're engaging and taking action
Yes.
in the now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's this show, that's what this show is all about. And we don't have any super chats. I'm checking entropy right now, so seeing that there are no super chats and nothing on D Live as well, and maybe nothing on YouTube. I guess I should probably check YouTube real quick to see if there's any questions, just in case. I don't know. I don't know if StreamYard would tell me if YouTube were up on board. But let's go ahead and just real quickly see what's going on YouTube. See if there are any questions for us. And I am not seeing any questions on YouTube. Yep, no questions on YouTube either. So we're good on all fronts and we can call it a night. Thank you again, Cheryl, and have a beautiful night. I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Yep. All right. Good night.
Good night.